Hi. Thank you for joining me in another episode of Chad Sports Talk. You don't know, my name's Chad. Take a dive into world sports. This is my NFL Week 6 recap video where I go over this past weekend's NFL action. Kind of let you know how I did. Overall, I didn't do too bad. I went 10-4. As you notice, we're a few games short this week because of the NFL bye season. So, the Jets, Falcons, Niners, and Saints all had a little extra week off. They can enjoy watching their competition play. Let's go ahead and kick it off with Thursday night's action with Tampa Bay and Philadelphia. I went on a limb here. I went with Philadelphia. I thought some pieces were starting to come together. And earlier in that game, Tampa Bay was able to just cruise up to ahead. They're led at the half, 21-7. Philadelphia made some questionable defensive calls. Protection, not protection, but coverage deals that allow Tom Brady to pretty much pick them apart. You can't do that with Tom. He's just one of those quarterbacks that if you give him an inch, he will take a mile. And, there was just enough. But the second half, Philadelphia started to come back and made things a little interesting. Even though I think by the time in the fourth quarter, when they got that touchdown, I think it was more of a junk time. Because then they went 2-point conversion for some reason. So the score looked a little closer than what it was, but the 2-touchdown performance by Tom Brady was more than enough for the Buccaneers to win 28-22. And I'm sorry, Tom Brady, for betting against you. And then we're going to head off to England. That's right, we had another game in London. I totally forgot about this one. It was Miami Dolphins taking on Jacksonville Jaguars. I would say Jacksonville get their first win of the season. And they did. It was a 53-yard field goal that, as time expired, let Jacksonville get their first win. So congrats to Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence for getting that on your resume finally. Hopefully Urban Meyer didn't stay behind and do some other antics. But, this is, I said the Jaguars are starting to look like a team starting to put things together. If they could do the whole game. So this looked like how they went against Cincinnati and gave Cincinnati a scare. So it looks like Thursday nights tend to be their night to be, a competitive football team. So maybe they should play every Thursday. But Miami, Tua came back. He was a warrior. Give him credit for that one, for coming back from those busted ribs. Wearing that, especially flak jacket to help protect him, and it just wasn't enough. So hopefully, this doesn't hinder him moving forward. But Jacksonville ended up, leaving London with a 23-21. Off to Chicago, where the Bears play host to the Packers, and I told you Aaron Rodgers loves playing Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers loves playing against Chicago. This is like one of his favorite teams to play against. And it was that Aaron Rodgers was throwing touchdowns. He ran one in. It was Aaron Rodgers doing the typical Aaron Rodgers things against Chicago. Even when he ran in, I guess he had a little altercation with one of the fans. You know how Chicago fans are. And he screamed at them, "I own you. I own you for my entire flipping career. I still own you. I still own you." That hurt me in the soul. That was he just took out the soul and just crushed it in his hands. And he doesn't care. It is Aaron Rodgers. He is, as Stephen A. would put, a bad man. He is 22-5 against Chicago in his career. And it's just one of those things that, he knows the Bears' number. He knows how to beat them. It's just one of those things. I mean, I can't. Am I upset with Aaron saying that? No, not really. That's just how it is. He's had our numbers since he became a starter in Green Bay. Plain and simple. Much like Brett Favre did when he was the starter. So, with that being said, it was a nice, slow, steady pace. They didn't go too extreme. They didn't really do much because Chicago offense did great in the first part of the first quarter, and they showed up in the fourth. They don't do the whole game, but Green Bay ended up walking away from Chicago 24-14. All right, in Detroit, Detroit was hosting Cincinnati. I figured Detroit would get the first win as well. The Bengals had other ideas, especially Joe Burrow. This team right now is clicking on little cylinders. They're starting to really gel together. Joe Burrow ended up throwing 3 touchdowns, and he just had control of Detroit this entire game. It was 20-0 by the third quarter, and it wasn't even close. 34-11. There's a lot of things wrong with Detroit right now, so they got to figure some things out before they can move forward. Now we're going to go off to Indianapolis, where the Colts were playing host to the Texans. I figured the Texans make this close. Texans had other ideas and decided to just let the Colts just run amok on them. And it was an easy day for Carson Wentz. Jonathan Taylor even had a 3-yard touchdown. It was just one of those things, and the Colts just destroyed the Texans 31-3. Over at MetLife, I said the Rams, the Giants and Rams were playing, and I said the Rams have an easy victory. It was just a not pretty second quarter where the Rams just posted 28 points and just routed the Giants 38-11. In the nation's capital, Washington was playing host to Kansas City. And I figured this was one of those games that the Chiefs would just be able to kind of pull away from and see Mahomes get back on form. But that first half wasn't Mahomes-like either. He struggled that first half, throwing 2 first half interceptions, and the team was trailing 13-10.5. But the second half, that's when the team finally, turned the lights on and started playing. This is something Kansas City can't be doing the rest of the year, because if the Kansas City will start playing like this, where they have their team with 2 halves, they might even make the playoffs. So that's going to hurt my predictions. But the Chiefs ended up in the second half, just ended up pulling away and finishing off Washington 31-13. Minnesota, Carolina. This was a finish. If you didn't watch that, the final quarter of that game, you missed a gem. With not much time left, and Minnesota was up 3-20. And they pinned Carolina deep. I think it was like the 4-yard line. And Carolina, on a 4th and 10, was able to convert to keep the drive alive. To convert another 4th down play to continue on the drive. Ended up scoring a touchdown and complete a successful 2-point conversion to tie the game at 28-all. To send the game in overtime. That was just ridiculous how that played out. But in overtime, Minnesota was just too much, and was able to get that victory. And unfortunately, it was one of these things I thought Carolina would be able to hold off and beat Minnesota, because Minnesota's been kind of lackluster. But right now, Carolina looks a little lost without McCaffrey in the backfield, and Minnesota's able to take advantage of that. And like I said, escape Charlotte with 34-28 victory in OT. Then you had the Chargers visiting the Ravens. These are the two of the top teams in the AFC. I gave the slight edge to the Ravens because of their defense, and it was all Ravens. They dominated the Chargers and blew the doors off of them. Chargers couldn't do nothing, and the Ravens rallied them 34-6. The Cardinals went up to Cleveland, take on the Browns. Cardinals were missing some key pieces because of protocol. Chandler Jones was out. The head coach, Kingsbury, was out. And I thought Cleveland had enough to stop the Cardinals' winning season. The Cardinals went protocol. Who cared? We're missing our head coach. And they destroyed Cleveland. I mean, it was a pure dominance that just happened. And Cleveland got lucky at the end of the first half with a Hail Mary touchdown. And it was one-sided. Baker looked like he got injured again. So they need to hurry up and try heal the wounds because you got a very short week. But yeah, Arizona is still undefeated after demolishing Cleveland 37-14. Then we have the Mile High where the Las Vegas Raiders visited Denver. And this is something the Raiders, I think, needed to get that win to get everything that happened over before the kickoff and to kind of shed with all that stuff with John Gruden. They need that win to stop their slide. And Derek Carr, 341 yards passing with 2 touchdowns. I mean, it just lets you know that he was wanting to take control of this team and put them on their back and move forward. Denver's one of those teams that definitely will help you bounce back. Raiders' defense was just too much for Bridgewater, and the Raiders left Mile High victorious, 34-24. The game in Foxborough between the New England Patriots and Dallas Cowboys. This was another very interesting matchup. I watched most of this game as well, and that New England defense in the red zone is just phenomenal. I mean, they locked down Dallas. They barely could make any successful red zone attempts. I mean, Dak Prescott threw an interception in the end zone, which is rare. Then he tried to leap over the line, but when he was trying to leap, that's when the ball got punched. So technically, when he crossed, he didn't have full control. Fumble. I mean, this is something you don't expect Dak to do, but this is like 2 weeks in a row now he's done this. If the Cowboys don't watch it, that type of performance will cost the game. Besides McCarthy time mismanagement type of things. And it's just one of those things. New England came back. I mean, Mac Jones threw a pick 6, but in the next offensive possession, I mean, he threw a pick 6 to Diggs. I mean, this is one of these men you cannot do that to. But in the next offensive possession, Diggs got blasted for a huge flip-up touchdown. So New England's got some pieces in the right direction. I think it's just a matter of time for it to completely gel, get this going. They got this game going to overtime, and it was just too much Dallas. CeeDee Lamb caught, was pretty much wide open for that touchdown. Made it in, even though his last camera shot was probably not the most advantageous for the NFL, especially since they're big against taunting right now. So I'm not sure he's going to see any ramifications for that, but I doubt it. So, but Dallas escaped New England with a 35-29 victory. On a different note, Dak had a calf muscle strain, and I could tell you those things hurt. But they're off, so that gives him time for him to heal, so that should help him out. And trust me, it takes about a week to get over that one. Then Sunday night was with Seattle and Pittsburgh, and this is one of those matchups that Pittsburgh was leading early, and then they just did their typical thing. They let Seattle come back. Geno Smith, there's no pushover for a quarterback. I mean, he's a very, very prominent, good backup. I think he was a starter for the Jets a while back. And of course, that's when the Jets went through the carousel quarterbacks, and he's been floating around ever since. But he's just one of those wiry veterans that knows he's seen the game, he's been in the game, so he is no slouch. But towards the end, it was the end of the game, at the end of regulation, was a bit of same loss of words, because trying to figure out how to describe those last seconds of the fourth quarter. I have no idea what the heck the referees were on. Geno passed to Metcalf, who instead of stepping out of bounds, decided to try to turn up the field. Got the ball punched out. Swain was able to cover it. Once the play was bone dead, Swain had the notion, the awareness to sprint to the center of the field, so they get the ball placed, so the Seahawks could spike it. Now, fortunately, the stadium clock at that time frame had zeros, but it's technically 1 second left. So Steelers fans, all that thought the game was over. But prior to that play being picked off, all of a sudden they decided to review Metcalf's catch. There was no question about the catch. I don't know why the refs decided to do that. That was a bit weird. Tomlin had a few choice words about that as well. If you probably leap read his actions when he chewed up 3 of those refs. Yeah, it's just be a bleep-filled section of my video. But they input 3 seconds back on the clock, allows them enough time to spike the ball and kick a game-tying field goal, which they would have had time anyways because of how it played prior to the referees blowing it dead. So it's just, and then they got exchanged a couple of possessions overtime, but then what? Punched out Geno Smith. Okay, that sounds bad, but he punched out the ball out of Geno Smith's hands. He tried to run. TJ Watt came up behind him, pretty much punched the ball out. Got fumbled, and then Steelers just made sure they put him in their kicker in the right position. He kicked the game with a field goal, and they beat Seattle 23-20. And last night's game between the Bills and the Titans, this was a feast. This was something you wanted to cap off the week. 7 league changes, ties in Monday Night Football record. It was just King Henry and Josh Allen deciding who's going to be, MVP of it. Derrick Henry had 3 touchdowns. He just one of these men you just cannot bring down. You make people look silly. Tannehill kind of did that with the Buffalo DB, hit him in the back of the head, bounced up, and Julio Jones caught it. I mean, it's just one of those games that you have to watch. It was an enjoyment to watch these guys go at it. As Tennessee driving down, and of course they were down at that time frame at the end of the fourth, and Derrick Henry just burrows his way through the end zone to give him a 34-31 lead. That led to a questionable call at the end of the fourth quarter with the Bills right there. I think it was like 3-4 yard line, 4th and inches. Now, if you look at Josh Allen, he's not a small man. He definitely should be able to just fall forward and gain enough for the first down. The Bills decided to go for it. Instead of kicking the game-tying field goal to send the game to overtime, he decided just to go for the win. Statistically, it was the right choice to make because the offense was clicking. You have a big, tall, burly quarterback in Josh Allen, and things were just going. The fact that he lost footing and then the defensive tackle was able to get the right leverage in there and just seal off Allen from making any further attempt where he almost lost inches. That just sealed the game for the Titans. Now, I'm part of the old school mindset where I would just kick the field goal, send the game in overtime. But then you look at it that way, Then you have your 50-50 shot of losing the toss. Then Derrick Henry has the ball, and he runs for a touchdown anyways. So, I mean, either or, you look at it, it's one of those things. But I think I'll put my chance more in a coin toss. But that's why I'm not a head coach. So, hats off to the Bills for at least attempting to just win the game. Instead of putting the chance up in overtime for them maybe not get the coin toss and making a touchdown. And the Titans were able to escape Buffalo's attempt at 34-31. So, hey, that's what this past weekend's action, and it was a doozy. I can't wait for next week, as there's some very good matchups coming up that could really determine a lot of things. After 6 weeks, you're starting to see some teams are really starting to rise to the top of each conferences to kind of, make them, the focal point right now. 1-10-4 this week, which, pretty happy for. I thought my week was going to be pretty bad when I started off losing that Thursday night game, but then, rebound quite nicely. And all, next week's actions, we're going to be even less games because then you're going to have 6 teams that are off. Dallas, like I said, much needed bye week for them. So as the games get, a little smaller, games get a little, not really smaller, but fewer. So I'll make sure to get that video out to you a Thursday before kickoff of the Denver-Cleveland game. Oh, that should be a doozy. See which Cleveland Browns team shows up. But anywho, like I said, I'll see y'all. I'll get that video out to you all on Thursday for my picks for next week's NFL action. Hey, let me know in the comments below which game did you like? Which one that you picked the right one compared to everyone else? I mean, just like for Monday night, me and Greeny both picked Tennessee. So hey. But, leave a comment while you're there. Go ahead, smash that thumbs up for me. Give me a like. When you do that, you can also subscribe if you wish. Once you subscribe, you hit that bell notification. Let you know next time I post a video, and I'll see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.